right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A somber anniversary. How the family of a MoDOT worker killed 2 years ago is honoring her memory, changing lives. A ceremony at the St. Louis County Courthouse, creating new families just in time for the holidays. But first, a show of support. His son killed in the Hamas terror attack in Israel. The effort by Jewish fraternity members to make sure a Branson man isn't mourning alone.
Putting yourself in those shoes, it really is upsetting. So we wanted to really just get down there and make sure that he knew that he had a community surrounding him.
Good evening, I'm Brent Solomon. We begin tonight with breaking news coming out of the Middle East. The Washington Post is reporting Israel and Hamas have agreed to a tentative deal that would free dozens of hostages in exchange for a 5-day pause in fighting. Barring any last-minute hitches, Hamas would free at least 50 hostages in batches every 24 hours. The stop in fighting would also allow much-needed humanitarian relief to enter Gaza. Look for updates on this breaking story on KSDK.com and on the 5 on Your Side app. Closer to home now, a Missouri man lost his son during the Hamas attacks just last month. In a story you'll see only on 5 on Your Side, a group of Jewish fraternity brothers from Mizzou are making sure he doesn't grieve alone. Annie Kroll joins us now with her exclusive report. Annie.
Well, exactly, Brent. 3 AEPI brothers from Mizzou are home for Thanksgiving break. I asked them why would they want to be part of a funeral ritual for a man they'd never met.
Like here in America, it's kind of hard to help out in some ways. So any way that we could figure it out, how to help, we're willing to do it.
Driving more than 3 hours south of Columbia, almost 20 AEPI brothers from Mizzou made the trip to Branson on October 9th. Their Jewish fraternity president learned about Ariel Presso, who had just lost his son in the October 7th Hamas attacks while attending a music festival in the desert.
More sadness than I had ever felt, because I can't imagine what this guy is going through. And not only that, he's all alone in Branson, where there's not a huge Jewish community.
In the Jewish faith, sitting Shiva means eating and telling stories about those who passed. But a few things were missing for the prayer circle called a minyan.
To have a minyan, which is a group of 10 people in Judaism who say a prayer. It's not just when somebody dies. Usually Jewish prayers are said in a group of 10, making it a minyan. And he didn't have 10 people to be part of the minyan with him.
All 3 of the AEPI brothers are Parkway Central High School graduates. Ryan and Brian have known each other since preschool. They say this chapter of their college years is one of the most meaningful.
It's hard enough losing someone, let alone your son, in a horrible act like what just happened. And then to be alone, putting yourself in those shoes, it really is upsetting. So we wanted to really just get down there and make sure that he knew that he had a community surrounding him.
The Chesterfield native said if you're interested in helping Israel, consider donating to an organization like the Jewish Federation of St. Louis or the Jewish National Fund. Brent?
Annie, thanks for that report. Tonight, United Auto Workers members at Ford and Stellantis have approved their new labor deals. Nearly 69% of workers at both companies voted in favor of the new agreements. In comparison, only about 55% of GM workers approved their new contracts. These 3 deals affect about 145,000 workers, including nearly 4,000 at the GM plant in Wentzville. The agreements will run until 2028. Well, today marks 2 years now since a deadly crash killed 2 MoDOT workers and seriously injured a third as they were working along Telegraph Road in South County. 5 on Your Side's Mercedes McKay shows us how one of the victims' families is honoring their loved one's life while still fighting for change.
For Tanya Muskoff, the last 2 years can only be described in one way.
Pure hell. Every day waking up without my daughter and grandson is devastating.
It's been 24 months since she lost her daughter, Caitlin Anderson, and her unborn grandson, Jax.
She always put others first and put herself last. She was kind, and she wanted to be a mama more than anything.
But that dream was taken from the 25-year-old MoDOT worker when she was hit by a car on Telegraph Road in South St. Louis County.
Some days I still feel like I cannot believe that this actually happened.
The crash also taking the life of Anderson's coworker, 58-year-old James Brooks.
This was preventable. They should be here right now, and they would have been here now if MoDOT had done their job.
Now, 2 years later, the bridge that caused two families so much pain is being named in honor of Anderson. But family, friends, and legislators aren't stopping there.
After we learned all of the different mistakes that MoDOT had made, that this was preventable. And so when you see something like that, as legislators, we're here to protect people.
From legislation to meetings, several lawmakers out of Jefferson City have been working tirelessly to make sure what happened to Anderson and Brooks never happens again.
We're working to go farther with this and make it better for just workers so they can come home.
While the fight for justice is far from over.
None of this should be forgotten, and it really is going to take not just our legislators, but it's going to take the citizens of Missouri.
This mother is pleading for change so no one has to feel the pain she's felt for the past 24 months.
I want the corporations to protect their employees, to give them the proper protection that they need to do their job and to go home to their family, like Caitlin didn't get a chance to.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
And a part of Interstate 70 in North St. Louis is being named after Brooks to keep his legacy alive. His coworker, Michael Brown, was hurt in that crash. He survived. Well, today an event at the St. Louis County Courthouse to help more kids find a forever family. Adoption Saturday is a national event held the Saturday before Thanksgiving during National Adoption Month. We caught up with a woman who decided to adopt a child, and she encourages others who are thinking about it to make that move.
I'm a regular person who had never been a parent before I became a foster parent and now an adoptive mom. It's regular families who become foster families and create homes, and these children are magical and incredibly deserving, and there's such a need.
Anyone interested in fostering or adopting a kid, you're encouraged to reach out to the Children's Division at the Missouri Department of Social Services. Tonight, dozens of families are a bit more prepared for Thanksgiving. This morning, the People's Community Action Corporation and Betty Jean Kerr Health Centers gave away meals. More than 100 volunteers packed bags with all the fixings. Their goal was to feed 1,000 families and combat food insecurity. They're also committed to helping with other needs, including health care. Well, tonight the Muse Awards took center stage at the Stiefel Theater. And of course, it was hosted by 5 on Your Side's own Mike Bush. The nationally televised show honors those who display exceptional kindness and sportsmanship, both on and off of the field. Former Cardinals pitcher Adam Wainwright received an award for his extraordinary career and character. Crystal City's Bill Bradley received the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Artificial intelligence is now part of our lives. So could it be used to create the political ads we'll see over the next year? We verify.
Not just a father, uncles, whoever, coaches, it takes all of us to raise a kid. It takes a village.
Empowering young black men in North St. Louis County. The event connecting kids with role models and mentors.
Quiet outside right now, but we're looking off to the west. That's where our next active system, finally some rain when it arrives, and how cool it is as we head toward the holiday week.
Well, next year will be a huge election year. Primaries start in January, and soon your television will be flooded with those political ads. With more content being created with artificial intelligence, could it falsely portray candidates' words or actions come election time? Our Arian Daytel verifies if AI can be used in political ads.
Meta and Google recently announced they would require advertisers on their platforms to disclose whether a political ad was created using artificial intelligence. Policies like these are intended to increase transparency. But what about political ads on TV? Do the same rules apply? Let's verify using these sources. Right now, there are no federal rules that prohibit the use of generative artificial intelligence in political ads on TV. However, that may soon change. The Federal Election Commission is seeking public comment on a petition that asks the FEC to amend current rules that prohibit a candidate from fraudulently misrepresenting other candidates or political parties to include deliberately deceptive political ads created using AI. Meanwhile, a bipartisan group of senators introduced a bill in September that would ban AI-generated political ads in federal elections altogether. like this GOP-funded ad that was created using AI-generated images of apocalyptic scenes.
Officials closed the city of San Francisco this morning, citing the escalating crime and fentanyl crisis.
However, as of November 14th, 2023, the Senate has not taken action on the bill. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till.
And we always welcome your Verify ideas. Email us at verify@ksdk.com.
Quiet outside right now, Main Street, St. Charles, but as we get closer to the holiday, it's going to be busier. What the temperatures are like and when we'll see our next chance for rain, if that impacts your holiday plans.
Well, the Ferguson-Florissant School District is working to make sure all families thrive. Today, it gave Black men and their sons a platform to come together and develop stronger bonds. 5 on your side's Travis Cummings takes us to the meaningful meetup.
I need to get to Hazelwood. That's where I was at for 8 years. Talking with other guys, bouncing ideas off each other. You know, it's a really good atmosphere.
It's a much-needed space in St. Louis.
We've been participating ever since he was in kindergarten.
Chris Shannon and his son Christian are back at Dudes, Dads, and Donuts. Black mentors and young people spread out all across McClure High School on Saturday for camaraderie centered around mental health and overcoming struggles.
We all learning to be better people, and me just coming here to learn to be a better father, you know, listen to my son more, you know, be more patient with him, and things that, you know, I didn't really get with my father because of the absence in my life at early on.
Chris and his little man bond over ball.
You know, he got me started on football. Well, he didn't really force me to, but one day I just said I wanted to play football.
More importantly, morals and values.
Don't be selfish. Don't be all give me the ball. Don't give him the ball. Don't be all that. Just give everybody a chance.
Here they can share that. The event with the Ferguson-Florissant School District connects families through every thread possible, like Big Brothers Big Sisters and meaningful dialogue.
Really good informational setting for kids, young African-American men to learn and see mentorship.
These breakout sessions include discussions about things like finances, how to navigate relationships, how to be your brother's keeper. They're trying to grow and change mindsets.
And if you find yourself tearing down things and destroying things, then that's not what we are intended to be and to do.
Black men of all ages in St. Louis walk away with lessons they can live and lead by.
Father, uncles, whoever coaches all, it takes all of us to raise a kid.
Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
And last year, about 200 people signed up for Dads, Dudes, and Donuts. Organizers say that number doubled this time around. Well, downtown St. Louis is a little brighter tonight. Winterfest at Keener Plaza kicked off today. This evening, folks gathered around a towering tree for the 76th annual lighting ceremony.
4, 3, 2, 1.
How about that? Well, kids got to skate as bands played under the glow of nearly 100,000 twinkle lights. Winterfest continues until December 31st. If you're looking for a list of holiday happenings in your neighborhood, text the word holiday to 314-425-5355. Turning now to your weather first forecast, my man Gary Frank is standing by now. And I tell you what, Gary, the weather really wasn't bad for that excitement at Keener.
Yeah, not all that bad at all. You know, we really haven't seen all that cold weather. This is still trending as one of our warmer November months, and certainly a drier one. So something's got to change. And I think that's going to be the case as we go throughout the next several days. Right now, it is quiet here as you look outside downtown. Pretty pleasant conditions overall. And what you're going to see consistently is temperatures have cooled off nicely. Even in the city, it's 42 degrees already. So we are cooling down pretty nicely, and I think we're going to head for some cooler weather here in the overnight. We got to 61 today officially. 54 is the average. So, you know, we've been above average pretty consistently for the last few days. Wind's calm, and I want to show you some of our local temperatures already because we have already fallen pretty significantly close to the freezing mark in many cases. And while I don't think we're going to drop a ton more in some of these outlying areas, we will start off with frost. Overnight lows are going to drop a pretty good consistent pace as we're going to fall somewhere in the mid-30s. So in many cases, nice and chilly, but out ahead of this, as we look at this, for the most part, though, still pretty quiet. You'll see all this rain off to our southwest, and that's part of the system that's going to impact our weather. But look at this really cold air that's bottled up. I mean, you have temps finally starting to show what you would expect in November. Even though there are a few 30s and 40s, it's the really cold stuff north. That's what's finally going to bottle up and push some of it further south. We haven't seen that in a while, right? So as a result, we still continue to look at most of this, which is on the warm side. That's where we are today. But over the next couple of days, you'll start to see that shift here, and that's going to be responsible for rain for us for the first part of next week. And then watch as we try to trend warmer for the holiday. Still pretty pleasant, but the end of the week, we finally get a push of that really cold air, and that's what's going to drop our temperatures significantly. As far as the rain is concerned, I'm actually optimistic that more of us are going to get this. There will be periods of rain at times. It's not going to rain the entire day on Monday, but we'll be seeing periods of heavy rain, a few breaks overnight, and then it kind of hangs around with us early Tuesday before it spins out of here and keeps us on the, at least temperatures not changing a whole lot. Potential rainfall, though, I mean, it is going to be at least a half an inch in many spots. I think some spots may get upwards of 3/4 of an inch. So a pretty even rainfall, which we need. We'll take anything we can get. This is a slow and steady rain. Clouds increase tomorrow, temps in the low 60s, but you'll notice as we continue to dive over the next few days, it is going to be a lot different, especially into next week. We got temps in the 40s, looking okay for the holiday, right around 50 degrees, not all that bad. And even as we head into the weekend, though, next weekend, when you're putting those Christmas decorations up officially, because mine are already up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know my stance on this.
Before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
all right.
absolutely. I skip ahead. But you're going to get a little festive minus the snow stuff.
Where's your voice? Your voice, have you noticed his voice is doing something?
Getting, you know,
it's gone from watching that Mizzou game.
I thought he might have been cheering on Mizzou. Go ahead, Corey.
Listen, it was a wild day in Columbia for Mizzou, and that's putting it pretty lightly. It was a historic day for WashU on the soccer pitch, and we had highlights galore on the high school football playoff scene. Sports is up next after the break.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Before Mizzou starts thinking about which New Year's Six Bowl they want to play in, they need to take care of business. Finish this year with 2 wins for a 10-2 record, and you have yourself a great season. Florida wasn't going to just let that happen tonight in Columbia, though. Senior night at Faurot Field against the Gators, and you know Cody Schrader came ready to play. 7-2 Florida, and Schrader takes off. Excuse me, 7-3 Florida, Schrader takes off. That's good for a 40-yard touchdown. Tigers on top. I have to show you this play. Luther Burden almost makes the most insane TD catch I've ever seen. But you see the ball, it moves just a bit, overturned on review. Huge moment here. Mizzou up 2, Florida driving. Tigers force the backup QB to fumble with starter Graham Mertz hurt. 2 plays later, Brady Cook to Theo Weiss. 77 yards for the score. Mizzou goes up 9. Gators did not go quietly. Trevor Etienne, nobody around him, into the end zone. 2-point game. Florida gets the ball back, drives down the field, kicks a field goal with 1.5 minutes left. They go up 31-30. Mizzou gets one last shot. 4th down, this is the game. Cook to Burden to keep it alive, and Harrison Mevis on to win it on senior night from 30 yards. It is good. Mizzou escapes with a 33-31 win over Florida and an instant classic. Brett Bielema in Illinois at Iowa today, and if it's an Iowa game, you know it's low scoring. Early on, it's the St. Louis kid finishing off an Illini drive. Reggie Love the third for 6 points. Illini up 13-9, trying to hang on in the 4th, but Caleb Johnson gets loose and is gone to give Iowa the lead. A last-ditch effort from Illinois falls flat, and Iowa wins 15-13 to win the Big Ten West. Let's go to historic Francis Field on the WashU campus. Bears playing Wisconsin lacrosse for a trip to the D3 Final Four. Lots of scoring today. Grace Eller gets that one to go for WashU early on. This game went to penalty kicks tied at 4, and eventually Allie Hackett gets the game winner. WashU is headed to the Division III Final Four, looking for their 2nd ever national championship. High school playoffs rolled on for football and soccer today, and while the scores stayed low on the soccer pitch, points were definitely not a problem in our football highlights. Cardinal Ritter and Zumwalt North in the Class 5 quarterfinal, and if we're showing you a kickoff, you probably know what's coming next. This is the opening kick, and Cardinal Ritter's Malik Perkins is going to take it 94 yards to the house. Yeah, you can't start any better than that. Later on, check out this juke coming up by Ritter QB Antoine McKay. Right there, oh my gosh, it's absolutely filthy. He goes all the way for a 90-yard touchdown. Lions roll big, 68-14 into the semifinals. Over the river to Roxana, the whole town turned up to watch the Shells play Mount Carmel for a trip to the state championship. This was a touchdown bonanza. First, it's Roxana's Terrell Graves breaking the tackle. He gets in for 6. That's going to be Chris Wallach to Aiden Briggs. That's a score in the air, a little bit of a bobble. That's good, though. 2 more on the ground for the Shells. First, Andrew Ellis. It's going to get the crowd fired up. And I'm telling you, the whole town was there today. And eventually, bulldozer Evan Wells, long run for 6 more. Crazy game, doesn't go Roxana's way, though. The visiting Mount Carmel team ends the Shells' perfect season with a 63-48 win. Still a great year for Roxana. DeSmet and Coach Merritt hosting Rockbridge in a Class 6 semifinal. Close game, but DeSmet made the big plays count. Dylan Duff slings it. Colin Griffin not only makes the great catch, but he turns on the afterburners. He goes all the way into the end zone. Spartan defense showed up today as well. They forced the fumble. It's going to be Quincy Bias picking up the pigskin. He gets 6 of his own. DeSmet wins 23-16 to set up a CBC and DeSmet semifinal with a trip to state on the line next week. All right, some new soccer state champs to crown today at the soccer park in Fenton. First up, Duchesne. The Pioneers beat Bishop DuBourg 1-0. They win the Class 1 title. Zach Hubert had the goal for Duchesne. And later, the Wildcats of Westminster won their first ever state title. Levi Week had the only goal as Westminster beats Logan Rogersville 1-0 to win the Class 2 championship. Here's a look at some other football scores from today. Congrats to East St. Louis. They move on to state title game in Illinois. Valley Catholic, they go on to the semifinals in Missouri. Shout out Eureka, Live for Life, Borgia. Great seasons came to an end today. I'm spent. I'm going to lose my voice.
Yeah,
like
man, you're talking a lot there.
And I'm sorry, Brent. Mizzou got some bragging rights over Florida today. Maybe next year.
Yeah, it is what it is. We just came to give you a little competition tonight.
Yeah, it was a great game. Great game.
It was a good game. My friends, that's all of our time at 10. Saturday Night Live is next. We hope you have a great weekend.